Hey guys, it's Zekin and welcome back to Beryl Zoo. In this episode, we're going to be working on the parking lot as well as the main entrance. So don't forget to like and subscribe and sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. At first I tried using the paths, but it wasn't really coming out the way I envisioned it. So I changed it to something else later on, but I just decided to leave the footage of it because I thought you guys would find it satisfying. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be working on the parking lot as well as the main entrance, which coming from the road into the zoo. Okay, so we have a big jump cut there. I used a bunch of plaster pieces and recolored them to kind of like the average of the asphalt pieces, which I used to make the roads, and they kind of really blend in well and give off this kind of convincing asphalt kind of look to it. So really happy how that came out. And I also started doing the parking lot markings. Instead of using the arch shapes, I went for the wood pieces because they have this kind of weathered look to it. So because the arch shapes look like they were just like newly painted, but the wood gives up this like old vibe of it, so thought it came out well. So next up I started working on the surrounding fence. I used a bunch of the breeze blocks and then used it to make columns, and I thought it came out pretty well. In the earlier videos I didn't really put that much effort into the fence. I just plopped down a bunch of pieces that I thought looked nice, but I actually just took my time to put some detail into it. And then I eventually started using some of the poles. I've forgotten what's called in game, but these poles, I lined them up and it creates this really nice kind of railing, and it looks like a really nice modern fence. So it came out pretty well, much more than what was there before. So yeah, by the way, we have a new Discord server. A lot of people have been asking me to create one in the past, so I finally made one and released to you guys when we finally hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm really still thankful for you guys. Yeah, the link for it will be in the description below, so you can go hop on and hang out. And I usually put in teasers for upcoming stuff before I post it anywhere else, so that would be really cool if you guys are really interested in some of the upcoming stuff. Apart from the one I did in Serenity, this is actually my first full-on parking lot build. So this first time I'm building one from scratch, so I was really nervous about it at first, and I thought it was really gonna be like a boring process, but it was actually much more enjoyable than I thought, apart from placing down all the cars. But eventually I'm really happy with how it came out, so yeah. Okay, so next up I started working on the landscaping around the parking lot. It's mostly just trees and a bunch of shrubs, nothing too serious. And by the way, this whole parking lot, I referenced it from the Missouri Botanical Gardens very own parking lot. I think it's very important to always have some kind of reference when you're building, so you can have a kind of plan and keep to the realism. So if you want to build better, it's important to always use references. Okay, so if some of you guys missed it, in one of the last community posts, I had you guys vote whether you want to see more content with lower quality builds or with less content, or I should take my time to build whatever. And okay, so majority of you voted that it's okay if I take my time and put effort into the builds, and I really do appreciate that, because I actually, like I said, I personally believe in having more quality stuff on the channel, and I do have some stuff coming up. I can't wait to show you guys some of the things I've been working on, and yeah, really appreciate the fact that you guys actually understand. So yeah, as you can see, I'm putting some lights under the trees to kind of have that down lighting towards the trees that gives it this really nice effect at night. And also I started working on these hedges. At first I wanted to use the in-game ones, but then you know how they're a bit too like cartoony, and then they're just too like perfect in a sense. So I just kind of got these I forgot what they're called, these flat greenery, and then rotated them in a way that they look like hedges, and actually came out pretty well. And I'm gonna be starting to use this method more often, as the ones in game I can't just use them because they just look way too cartoony, like I said. So yeah, doing some more tidying up work around the corners of the parking lot, and basically just duplicating whatever I have on the right wing of the parking lot over to the left side. Also, in order to achieve the skid marks kind of look in the parking lot, I sinked in the asphalt flat roof pieces into the ground, and it kind of gives off this kind of like used look to the road. And since we're not really gonna be like very focused on the parking lot, from above it looks pretty much like a lot of skid marks along the parking lot, making it look like it's been used in some sort of way. Okay, next up I started working on the zoo sign at the main entry to the zoo. So basically this sign is, I was going for the Beryl Zoo logo, which will pop up right now. So as you can see, it has pretty much like these leaves over them, and then there's a semicircle, and then the Peafowl is like the center stage of the whole logo. And so we don't really have like varying sizes of leaves in the game, so I just settled for having the leaves like that, and then putting this Peafowl statue in the middle. At first I put the dome stuff, and then realized that I could use the dome, like the semicircle part, at the main entrance of the zoo. So I switched it over to there, and then just left the main entrance sign as like with a bunch of leaves, different colored, and I just thought it came out pretty well. And I'm really satisfied with how it looks, in the sense that it kind of has this vintage kind of old style to it, while it kind of fits well with the whole modern vibe of the whole zoo. So yeah. So next up I started placing down cars in the parking lot. So realistically, if we want to like make it look as believable as possible, I wanted to really pay attention to the colors of the cars, because in real life most of the time I see the main colors of cars I see on the roads are either black, white, and maybe sometimes red, and then the rest are pretty much like exotic colors that come up rarely. So that's what I basically did. I made sure we had more black and white and a few more red cars scattered around, and then I just placed down some blues and oranges and some greens around, and that gave it this really realistic layout in which it looks pretty believable as a real parking lot. So yeah, so as we're nearing the end of the time lapse, we'll be heading straight to the live portion in just a second. So see you guys in the live portion. Welcome to the live portion of the video. I'm going to be giving you guys a quick look around at everything I did, so let's get on with it. So as you can see, this is the main entrance for the whole zoo. So I made it in a way that once you come from the road, once you drive down, you go straight towards the visitor center over there. So okay, let's zoom out. So you can see we have the big archway with the gates, and I'd imagine these poles over here, this white stuff over here, they're like electric, like they control the gates. So with a press of a remote, they can close and open the gates. So just thought to add that. And then over here you can see we have this do not enter sign, because the cars are coming out from this side and going in through that side. So that sign is made by Suicide Up, and it's just really awesome. Her sign set is just really very useful to use. So yeah, so as you can see, we have the final archway over here, and I'm just really happy with how it came out. So with the Peafowl and the leaves, and it just looks pretty cool. So yeah, so if we head on here and turn ourselves to the left, you'll see we have a security post at the back here. So let's head on through the path. So I repurposed Beyond Drew TV's one of his security posts, and then I just replaced the windows with the glass, and then just trapped a security guard over there, so it looks like it's actually functional and they're working, and just thought it added a really nice detail to it. So yeah, so let's head on down. So I wanted this place to feel very lush, and since this place has existed for a long time, the trees obviously would be overgrown like I have them here. So the trees really kind of hug this whole parking lot together, and since they're so big, it indicates that the zoo has existed for a much longer time, ever since if you guys have read the backstory, it used to be a botanical garden before it was turned into a zoo. So these trees were planted years ago, so they're now really big right now. So yeah, so let's head on down over here. And as you can see, this is the zoo sign that I said I brought over, and it just really adds a really nice touch to the visitor center entrance, and it kind of really draws your eye and makes the Beryl Zoo font kind of pop out, and just thought it came out pretty really well. So if we head ourselves over here, you can see we have a bunch of cars by Hot Dog. I think right now they changed their name to Cool Dog, but yeah, it's by Cool Dog on the workshop. And yeah, so over here you can see the parking lot will have disabled parking on either side, which has like the main path, and so it's going to be easy for people to get to the zoo quickly. And then we have this sign by Chief Nadia, and she made a bunch of like Dutch signs, and I just thought it would look pretty cool. So I don't really care if it's Dutch or anything, it just fits pretty well and sends the message across. So yeah, so as you can see, this is the like kind of skid road look I told you guys about. So this is the asphalt I sunk into the ground, and we'll be heading to an area view in just a moment so I can show you guys the effects. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of go towards this area because as you can see, we have some electric car charging stations over here. So if people have electric cars and they like to charge it, they'll just come park right over here, plug it in, and start charging their cars, and which I thought was a really cool feature to have in zoo. These are by Leaf on the workshop, and they're really cool, and they're not too piece heavy, which is what I like about them. So yeah, so one neat detail I added from when adding these was this like this kind of patch over here. So I'd imagine, since the zoo has existed for a long time and this parking lot has existed for so long, these electric car stations would be new additions to the parking lot. So this would be kind of like where they laid down the electricals to hook up the electrical charging stations. So if we head on here, you'll see this area is kind of like the staff / kind of event center parking. So this area has its own separate entrance over here. So from like the main road here, you can see we have this another one of Beyond Drew's security posts. I just repurposed it and replaced it with a glass and trapped these security guards in there. So just thought it came out pretty well. So future Zekin here. Forgot to mention that Haribo made the amazing gate for the private entrance. Ciao. Maybe when they're having an event or something, the gates would be open, and then you'll need like special access to enter into the parking lot area and park over here. So yeah, so I just added a bunch of backstage stuff behind this area over here with a bunch of dumpsters and stuff like that. And then yeah, so you can see that I added a bunch of like this Pip Shop water, Pip Shop juice, Gulpy, and this would be like, realistically, zoos would have a bunch of different sponsors, and so the shops in the zoos also want to advertise at the front of the zoo, and we usually see different advertisements on like the poles and stuff like that. So just thought that was a neat feature to have. Okay, so one thing I changed was the guest spawn place. So you can see the guests are coming from somewhere over there, which we'll get to in a second, but it kind of it makes it look pretty realistic in the sense that people are not just walking back and forth on like the main road in which we had it before. But if we head on down there, you'd see the guests are now coming from the bus. like they spawn right from the bus, and it gives it this kind of realistic look to it, and it just makes a whole lot more sense. And so they walk from the bus and they come here, they walk down over here, and then they can enter the zoo. So just thought that was a pretty neat feature to have. So yeah. Okay, so here is a whole overview of the parking lot over here. So you can see the selection of colors of the cars really gives this whole place and makes it look so believable. And then you can see the effect of the asphalt and the tarmac over here, and it gives it like this car tire skids effect and just looks pretty cool. So yeah. And then you can see we have different patches too, because this parking lot is pretty old, so it would have gone through different refurbishments and different patches over the years. So just thought I'd add that. And then you can see the trees really just hug around this area and just makes it look pretty much way better. So yeah. Also, so I wanted to also show off the fencing over here. It's so much better than what we had there before. It's way much more simpler, and it gives this whole place a nice kind of refurbished modern kind of look to it, and it just kind of ties in the whole area together. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not. When you subscribe, be sure to turn on that notification bell so you get notified whenever I post anything new. And also, I'll leave links below to join our Discord server. I'll really appreciate it if you guys join it. And I'll also leave links to my socials so you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter and everything. So yeah, see you later, guys. And until then, bye for now. And be sure to stay tuned for the cinematics, which will be coming up soon.